Hello, good afternoon and welcome to what is now, as you can probably tell by the pictures you are seeing, a very rainy Barcelona Test here in Catalonia. Unfortunately, the heavens have just opened. We've had a pretty dry morning, it's got to be said. It's around about 4 minutes ago that the rain started, and unfortunately that might be it for the day in terms of dry running. Now, if you're just tuning in, the big news from this morning, unfortunately, we've had another big crash here in Catalonia. Jorge Martin unfortunately had to go to the medical centre after turn 7 crash. He's now gone to hospital as well for further checks. We're going to speak to Paulo Benora, the team manager, any moment now. In fact, Paulo is just joining me. Paulo, good to see you. First and foremost, obviously, we have to start with Jorge. You're in the medical centre with him. We were outside for about an hour trying to get some info. What's the latest and how is he?
Yeah, after the first medical checks, it seems to be that there is no fracture visible there. But we, together with Angel Charter and Di Filippo, we prefer to go to the hospital to go further check and to be sure that everything is okay. At the moment, he was okay. He feel pain on many parts of his body, but we have to wait until further checks has done this afternoon. He went to the hospital 30 minutes ago.
What happened in the crash? I'm sure he tried to explain it to you guys. Turn 7, obviously a fast left-hander and a quick get off. What happened? Do you guys know what happened in the crash?
We have to analyze in a better way the data, but seeing the video from the outside, it seems to be like the front tire was not in the correct temperature, because he crashed immediately when he make the first degree of lean angle. So it seems to be that the bike was not at the correct working point.
What was Jorge working on today on that side of the garage? We saw some the aero that Marco Bezzecchi tried over in Jerez as well. So what was Jorge working on before his crash?
Yeah, the plan was to check the aerodynamics, as you correctly said. Check the aerodynamics that already Marco did last time in Jerez, and then our focus was to fix something that we didn't find during the weekend. We struggled a bit, to be honest, during this weekend, and this test plan was exactly what we are searching for. So we would like to find something to fit the bike for this track condition, this track layout.
Marco, I spoke to him yesterday and he said he really struggled this weekend. In terms of Friday, it was good. He was on the pace and then he just sort of hit a wall. So what was Marco's struggles this weekend? He said to us yesterday that Sector 4, the final sector, is where he was really struggling. So he's going to work on that today. What else is Marco working on and how's he felt so far before the rain?
Yeah, before the rain, yeah, you said. Yeah, also in his side in particular, we didn't find the correct setup in terms of everything, the chassis setup, on a better setup of electronics, because here with this poor grip condition, this low level grip condition, is necessary to find a different balance probably. Also it is necessary to be very smooth and clean on the throttle opening and in the throttle closing during the engine braking. So we have to work here.
Italian Grand Prix next. I'm going to let you go to lunch very soon, Paolo. Smells very nice, actually. What are you guys hoping for ahead of Mugello? Because I was speaking to a few teams and they said, obviously, Barcelona lacks a lot of grip. It's a very different surface to everywhere we go. So are we expecting a faster Aprilia? And, of course, are we expecting Jorge on the bike as well over in Italy? Or too early to say, I guess?
Fully different track layout, for sure. It is a very fast track, like Barcelona, but with a different radius on the corner, different speed, in particular different grip. So it is necessary to be very pragmatic, to start with our standard base setup as the previous races, and yeah, to work. Taking in mind that for Marco is a particular weekend because he's Italian Grand Prix together with Misano, so it's very important for him, but for Jorge as well, that we are waiting for the further medical check, but we we give to him a big hug because we need him in Mugello.
Thank you for your time, Paolo, and enjoy lunch and enjoy the rest of the test, or try to anyway. Yeah, we're sending a big hug, as Paolo says, to Jorge Martin. Not great to see the 2024 world champion having to go to the medical centre for checks and then to hospital as well. The good news, as Paolo mentioned, as Aprilia have mentioned as well, that it looks like there's no visible fractures as things stand. Now, I think we're about to go and get a little bit wet because we're going to go and head to Gresini Racing, of course, with the Martin news today. After yesterday, don't need me to tell you what unfolded yesterday here in Barcelona. Thankfully, Johan Zarco and Alex Marquez are on the mend. Alex Marquez has undergone surgery yesterday evening. He remains in hospital. We're going to get an update now from Michele Messini over at Gresini. And just very, very thankful that Jorge Martin today, Alex Marquez and Johan Zarco yesterday are relatively okay considering what unfolded and the scary crashes that they had. Michele, thank you for joining us. Good morning. How are you?
Fine. A bit tired. Yesterday was a big scare for us, but at the end, luckily, fine enough.
Yeah, exactly that. A scare for all of us, and no more so than for you guys and Alex's family as well. It looks like he's undergone surgery. Well, he's definitely undergone surgery, and it looks like he's relatively okay and on the mend. What's the latest? I'm sure you've spoken to Alex. How is he? It was great to see him smiling first and foremost in the hospital. So, yeah, what's the latest from you guys?
Yeah, we had a video call also a few minutes ago with Alex that he really nice for us, for our art, to see him that with the humor is fine, but so the surgery went well to the collarbone. Now he will receive the okay to leave the hospital in a few hours, so he can fly home, and then he will receive another examination from tomorrow onwards. But so at the end, like I said before, is fine enough. And I think that later on, the next day, we will receive some further updates.
I imagine it's the vertebrae, the C7 vertebrae, that he's had a small fracture in that's the biggest concern. Obviously, we see collarbone injuries a lot in motorcycle racing. What have you heard about sort of the neck injury?
At the moment, seems nothing serious, too much serious. So for the moment, the rest is the first things. And we need to wait the other exam for these things.
It was going very well for Alex, of course, this weekend. You won here last year, won the sprint and was well on course to fight for victory again. So minus obviously the big negative from yesterday, I'm sure you guys are taking the positives out of a good weekend after a bit of a tricky Le Mans.
Yeah, we spoke about also the positive part, as you said. Yesterday definitely Easy was flying on track because it's still very comfortable on the bike, a lot of speed. We find again the right feeling. And so will be all the things for try, I think, to win again the race. But anyway, as you said, we cannot control, we cannot avoid, of course, Pedro. But I think that yesterday for us and for Alex is more than a victory.
Absolutely, fully agree with that. On the other side of the box, though, Fermin back on the podium, and again a difficult year with his injury he picked up in pre-season. How good was it to see Fermin on the podium?
Yeah, full of joy for him because we know the months of the injury was really painful and hard to watch and follow us from home. But I think that he still made all the effort possible to go faster on the bike. The leg is always, the recovery always coming in the best way. It's not 100%, but I think that on the bike he also find a way to ride at 100%. Yesterday was a big one, and also think about that rider when he jump again on the bike after see those nasty crashes is not easy, and so this is a well-deserved work from Fermin.
100%. And Fermin said yesterday after that he's been struggling a little bit, obviously with the injury, but with the GP25, he said in Le Mans you guys had made steps forward in terms of the turning and, of course, late in the race. The rear grip, he said, was a bit of an issue so far this year. I guess before the rain has fallen, that's what you guys were working on today in the test.
Yeah, we need to also to keep in mind that we lose also the precision test with Fermin, but we still made a good job. From a rest test, we find something that suits well on him, and we still continue to improve. Also this morning, it seems that we find something in some also aero combination to think about, and maybe can we find some solution to bring for the next races.
Thank you for your time, Michele. A great update on Alex as well.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you to Michele Massini. Get out of the rain and into the box where they're going to have some lunch, I'm sure. Yes, this is not ideal weather. The ideal situation for Alex Marquez is he gets well soon, and great to hear Michele Massini giving us an update on Alex. A ferocious crash yesterday. I think we've all seen it. If you tune into this, you would have absolutely seen it by now, and it's just great to hear that Alex is smiling, undergone successful surgery in hospital in Barcelona, and he's going to be leaving hospital in a few hours to go back home as well. Now, I'm hoping to get a chat with Lucio Cecchinello as well. Obviously, the other big story from yesterday was Johan Zarco's Turn 1 crash in that pile-up after the initial restart with Pecco Bagnaia and Luca Marini, of course. So hopefully Lucio is going to brave the elements at some point and we can have a chat. But as you can see, it is not looking good here. I did hear a bike just go out on track, so someone is braving the elements. My bet would be Jack Miller, to be honest. But obviously can't quite see as things stand. But I'd be very surprised if this rain continues for the next 5 minutes that anyone would be going out on track and being able to set some good lap times. The wind has really picked up here as well in Barcelona. But as we stood outside of Gresini, good news on Fermin Aldeguer as well. He looks like he's going to be a force to be reckoned with as he gets that injury built up. And he, as I mentioned to Michele, said to me yesterday that, said to Matt Burt yesterday that he was working on turning. Really struggled so far this year with the injury, of course. That is never good news. And like Michele said and Fermin said yesterday, that he obviously missed the 2 Prix in Cess and the Thai Grand Prix through injury. Now, I think we're getting ready to pack up because this is not looking good in terms of getting guests out here in these elements. Just to bring you up to date with some news, Pecco Bagnaia was out this morning as well for the Ducati. I spoke to the team. Obviously, Pecco was involved in that Zarco crash and said to me yesterday that obviously the main priority and the main concern for everyone was the well-being of Alex Marquez and Johan Zarco. Now, Pecco was suffering from a bit of pain in his neck yesterday after the crash, had a big hit, got to be said. He wasn't in great shape when he came to speak to the media and myself in the broadcaster set around, a couple of hours after the race had finished. Of course, got promoted to the podium after the tyre pressure penalties, one of which was including Pecco, but he got away with it. It was a slow puncture for Pecco. He was out there this morning. I spoke to the team. He is feeling some pain in that neck, but said he wanted to go out and try some running this morning. I would imagine that Pecco isn't going to go out there this afternoon for some running in this weather. I'm not sure many people will be, to be honest. I think it's about time that people packed up and got out of here. Spoke to KTM as well. They're not trying too many things. A lot of things they've tested already. They're just running through basically the same cylinder program as in Jerez. Speaking to a couple of team members, and they were saying Barcelona is such a particular circuit that what you can learn here doesn't necessarily translate to what you can learn in Mugello, for example, and other tracks around the calendar. So not the biggest updates. The main thing is, though, Alex Marquez, Johan Zarco, and now, of course, Jorge Martin after the big crash at Turn 7 today are all relatively okay. So we're going to leave it there. The weather has just hampered things slightly, but obviously we've got the big news that Martin is going to be out of action for the rest of the test, and I don't know what it means future-wise as well. We spoke to Paolo Bonora. I was stood outside of the medical centre for around about an hour. Obviously, the team were there helping Jorge, and there wasn't any panic, so just going to report that to you guys as well. He was conscious, but obviously feeling pain in his left elbow and right leg. So fingers crossed Jorge, when he gets further checks in the hospital, isn't going to have any fractures that appear, and fingers crossed we'll see him back on the bike over in Mugello, of course, involved in a fantastic title race with Marco Bezzecchi and others, of course, trying to get into the mix. Other news to bring you, Fabio Di D'Antonio, I'm sure you guys have seen so far, he is missing the test, the race winner, of course, from yesterday. What a day it was for Fabio. Unfortunately, in that Alex Marquez crash, we saw Digia go down, had some pain on his left hand, I think it was, and I think it's a left finger injury that's caused Didier a lot of pain. We saw him actually keep the glove on throughout the podium celebrations, throughout the press conference, throughout these media duties after the race as well. And the team confirmed this morning that he will sit out the test today in Barcelona in order to be fully prepared for, of course, a special Grand Prix for a lot of riders and a lot of teams, but none more so than the Italian riders in MotoGP. So that's the news on Fabio Gianantonio. Of course, Marc Marquez not in action today as well in the Barcelona test. We're waiting to hear an official update on Marc. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we see Marc Marquez back in action at the Italian Grand Prix. But I think that is all she wrote in terms of the midday live. And maybe for the track action as well. So yeah, enjoy the rest of your day, enjoy the weekend off that we're having in MotoGP, a little bit of a hiatus, and then we get going back in Mugello. Can't wait to get to the Tuscan Hills, a fantastic event, the Italian Grand Prix. Hopefully the weather isn't similar to this, and it's a bit similar to what we had over in Barcelona this weekend, minus the rain, and maybe a little bit warmer, because it was a little bit chilly at some points as well. But thank you for tuning in. Obviously, got the updates on Jorge. Fingers crossed the 2024 World Champion is all okay, and we're going to see him back on track in Mugello. But the main thing is he's okay, Alex is relatively okay, and so is Johann Zarco. So thank you for tuning in. That's it from Barcelona, and we'll see you over in Mugello. Thank you.